Adventure athlete Buck Miller and I set out on a 1,000-kilometer skidoo expedition up the James Bay coast. Our destination, a remote cape where James Bay opens into the vast expanse of Hudson Bay. But the wild can be unforgiving. We traveled through a fierce blizzard and battled whiteout conditions as we navigated the icy terrain. We passed spanses of pack ice and took in the beauty of the open country, staying at a remote Cree Goose camp and encountering wildlife along the way too. Many moments on the journey tested our resolve, leaving us unsure of what challenges awaited us in this vast frozen landscape. So here we are in Moosonee, Ontario. I got my buddy Buck Miller here. We just got off the Polar Bear Express train from Cochrane, unloaded our skidoos and all our gear, and we are heading out for about an 8-day skidoo trip on James Bay. This is the Arctic watershed. We're going to be camping out on the land. Weather not so great now. Hopefully that clears out. We got Kyle, which is Buck's friend. He owns James Bay Adventures, and he's just helping us out with our turnaround here in Moosonee. Tomorrow morning, the adventure will begin. But first, we got to get a couple things in order. We're going to organize our gear, load up our toboggans, and we're going to travel up the James Bay coast, all the way to Hudson Bay. It's going to be an amazing journey and super remote, so we got to make sure we get everything dialed in before we head out there. You got to take a ton of fuel, camping gear, survival gear, you name it. So doing a few final preparation things and the expedition will begin. Really excited about this one. We should see some amazing stuff along the way. Well, it is the next day and we are about to head out. Sunny day today, but wicked minus 33, and we decided to just wait for it to warm up just a little bit and just kind of not rush. So we're excited to get out there. We're going to try to put some miles behind us today and ride all the way up to around the Attawapiscatt River. We have had permission to use somebody's remote camp, and then the last part of our adventure is going to be above the tree line. We were just looking at the map with Buck where you can see photos, satellite photos of James Bay, just to get an idea for where the open water is going to be. Wherever there's open water is where you might see polar bears on the ice floe, on the pans of ice, seal hunting, and that's just something that we're going to take a look at to make sure, you know, we're not going to be camping in a polar bear infested area. But this expedition is jumping off. Here we go. Rode out of Moosonee, and we are now on the Moose River, and we're heading for James Bay, which is saltwater, a massive bay that's part of the mighty Hudson Bay. Brisk minus 25, but a beautiful day. So far so good. Well, we got her stuck pretty good here in this deep snow. We were trying to cut across a bay. Real stuck. Look at how deep, waist deep snow. Yeah, we should have known because these were, look at how high these cattails are, but we didn't realize they're cattails when we started driving in here. You want me to try to push you? Yeah! So we finished our big crossing, and there's some islands marked there, so we tried to cut to the inside, but it's just cattails, and I didn't realize that there's like a solid like meter plus of snow underneath this hard packed surface. So Buck went in, things got a little interesting. He got his did you get stuck, Buck? Yeah. Or you made it through? I made it through. You made it through, then you got stuck coming back to help me, and I'm right stuck. Oh, we got it out. Okay. There's only... Oh. All right, Buck, give her. My parking brake on or no? A little bit, an inch. Okay, stop. So we made it to James Bay here, and man, it is just a massive stretch of frozen Arctic Ocean. We went through a pretty rough patch with some hard packed drifts, but it's looking a little better. We're more or less just staying left, so it's not particularly challenging navigating, right?
As long as we have visibility, it's pretty easy navigating.
As long as we have good visibility, yeah. All right, well, we are at camp. Put in about a half day today, which was pretty much as planned. Cold day, beautiful sunny, but good cold wind across James Bay, reminding us that we're on the Arctic Ocean here. Did a good 80K. We rode on land through willows and stuff for part of the time and dealt with some really bumpy, challenging conditions. I still am nursing this shoulder injury that I got, geez, only about 8 or 9 days ago now, but it's thankfully way better. So luckily Buck is managing to help get my machine unstuck, and he's got a really good technique too. Buck lived in Moosonee for 6 years or something like that, so he's a good northern chap. So we're gonna go into the tent and cook up some food. I think we're gonna do steak and some vegetables. Easy, nutritious, and delicious. So far so good, and we haven't been eaten by a polar bear yet. How's this stuff for dryness? Pretty good?
Yeah, it seems to be fine now.
All right, so we got the veggies here, stepping up the winter camping food game. Just reheated them right in the vacuum sealer bag in water. Oh, they're stone cold. Probably could use a little more heat. Well, that was pretty cool. Buck and I just ate a bit of a feast there and started getting ready to turn in for the night. And I stepped outside, and sure enough, there was an Arctic fox I saw out of the corner of my eye. So I jumped back in and grabbed the camera, and it was just kind of milling around looking, I guess, for food. It seemed kind of curious, kind of friendly almost. And then I think it decided that it wasn't, that there's nothing here for it. So it trotted off into the abyss of James Bay. So all in, yeah, great day today. Bedtime, and hopefully we don't get any visits by polar bears tonight. It is the morning of our second day here. My inReach says it's minus 25, but it's a cold one. Beautiful morning though, got the sun coming up, and today we're hoping we can make it to Attawapiscatt, but if the really icy conditions continue on the bay here, we're not going to be able to make a very good time, so we'll see. Takes a while to get going, so we got our coffee going, melted some snow, and just busted out the Coleman stove just to speed things up. So I'm excited to see what the day has in store, but it's going to be similar to yesterday. Is a good amount of traveling and just enjoying our time traveling on James Bay and seeing what adventures may arise. Hopefully we don't get stuck in a 1.5 meter deep snow hole. the Albany River, and it's really tough going here. Just super hard packed drifts, tough on the machines, tough on our gear and the toboggans, and we're gonna head out onto the bay a little further and see if we can pick up some better travel conditions, because you can only go like 25 kilometers an hour through this. Just to give you an idea of how hard packed the snow is, you can look at this. This is what the wind does. And that could be 3 feet deep there. And that's just from the wind. Strong wind here. Oh, this is old, dude. Well, we pulled over, we're heading up a river. Then we found this old camp, so we hiked up a steep hill and found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 old buildings. They're all the same color. They're built like the old Hudson Bay Company style. Clearly no one has been here for a while, but it looks like something fairly substantial went on here. You think it's just like a family's hunt camp though? Big family. Yeah. Wow, look at that. No stove though, eh?
We put our stove right through here, right through there.
Yeah. Roof needs a little. So you want to set up our tent in here?
I mean, we gotta get the skidoos in. If we can't get the skidoos in,
yeah,
forget it.
Wow. What the? This is just an old like hunting, fishing lodge?
What the hell of an opener.
Yeah. I just finished dinner. We had a couple chicken quesadillas.
It's delicious.
Good.
Do you have any salsa?
We banged off 135K today, which was not easy. Travel conditions on James Bay are just super bumpy. It's hard on the machines, slow going, hard on your body too. But we still managed to make it 135K, but with all our stops and everything, our average speed was only 16 kilometers an hour. So it was a hard fought day. Saw a couple of rough grouse, which are actually a little uncommon around here, and I tried to hunt one, but I got it, didn't I? Was unsuccessful. Because I missed. I don't know, maybe it was too far away. Really nice and cozy here in the tent. My shoulders feeling a little bit better. If you followed me for a bit, you'd probably seen that I trashed my shoulder the other day. You can check my other video called Ouch, I Hurt Myself. But doing a little better. I was actually able to chop some wood today and you know, do most camp tasks, so it's feeling good. But yeah, I'm going to turn in. I'm exhausted, and tomorrow is another day of adventure here on James Bay. Good morning. It is the morning of the third day of our trip here, and we're thinking that we're going to have to change up the objective. I just had a little chat here with Buck, and the odds on us making it all the way to the Cape in these bumpy, rough conditions are pretty slim, unless we were going to take another week, and it would not be enjoyable. Yeah, unless things change, we're going to try to make it to a place called Swan River. So today we're going to be traveling up the bay again, exploring more cool stuff, and hopefully we can make it to Swan River today. 90 kilometers as the crow flies, so that'll be, you know, a good day. Yeah, exactly. You know, we should get the hell out of here. My lunch break today. I have some dried mangoes and this hunk of homemade pemmican, which is rendered animal fat, dried pulverized red meat, and dried pulverized berries. In this case, I think raspberries. Lots of energy. Well, here we are in Attawapiscatt. This little community is on our route, and we made a little pit stop at the northern store here. Pretty short, just kind of moving through town, and we're heading back out on the Attawapiscatt River, back to James Bay and going north. We don't know if we're going to get to our new endpoint this evening, but should put a few more miles on today and probably get there tomorrow, depending on the travel conditions on the bay. So here we go. So Buck and I were following for some tracks for a bit. We are headed for a cabin and just a remote camp that we've been told we can use, but looks like the tracks we were following led to this cool little tent frame, and it's covered in a tarp right now, but you just put canvas over that and it's almost just as good as a cabin. Beautiful location, eh?
Is it ever?
Yeah, to be that close to the water and have trees all around.
Yeah.
It's clean. We're just digging out and figuring out which one we're going to stay in. These two have wood stoves, so yeah, bit of a ride, but we got here with plenty of daylight. Buck's doing all the work as usual.
Thank you, Gilbert Spence of Attawapiscatt, for lending your camp.
Yes, this is going to be awesome.
Little stove. Oh, that's the one. That's the one, baby!
Well, this is going to be home for probably a couple nights, eh, Buck?
Yeah, sure.
We decided to make this the end point of our trip with the beating our machines are taking. So we're basically gonna stay here and explore the Swan River and do a little fishing and some bird hunting in the area. But we've got some good firewood here, and it's gonna be a cozy place, and we don't have to set up the tent, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, it was a good ride today.
Way better than the last few days.
No comparison.
Yeah. Well, we have just cooked up a delicious meal here. We got the wood stove rocking in here, and it's quite warm. We didn't know we were going to be able to stay here. So Kyle, that runs James Bay Adventures, he set this up for us through a friend, and it's kind of cool. This is like a legitimate Cree goose hunt camp. Good morning. We are at this Cree spring goose hunting camp that we got permission to use. Just judging by how much of a beating our machines are taking, we feel like we can't go on north and continue to the Cape just because of the conditions. So we're kind of actually really happy with the way this is working out, and we have already put in some hard travel to get here. Today is going to be about trying to catch some fish. There's some good speckled trout fishing here. Yeah, we're going to get out there and give it a shot, travel upriver with the machines, and maybe we see some birds along the way too. And you know, with any luck, we'll be eating you know, delicious grouse or ptarmigan with trout tonight. Well, we have been traveling this river for a little while. We went up a ways and came back. We tried a whole bunch of spots, but every time our auger went right in and hit dirt. And there's literally no space or less than an inch of water below the ice. You know, it's tough. These rivers are shallow, and unless you can find the holes, it's hard to find the fish. But we did have some water back at the first place, so we're gonna go try that. And it's just cool traveling the river. Saw some wolf tracks, saw some wolverine tracks, and we figured we better cut some wood to replenish what we burnt back at the camp. So anyways, yeah, we're just going to see if we can't catch a delicious speckled trout for dinner. I still have some hope. It's getting to be a good time, so fingers crossed that we can get something with only that much water below the ice. You want me to throw a set line in this one? One time I found a muskrat in a pike tummy. Well, we've been out here for a while, and we tried 4 other spots upriver, and this is the only place that we could drop a line. Everywhere else we like augered right into the mud. Unfortunately, no fish. We had pretty high hopes, but we also in the back of our minds knew it was going to be hard to find a good hole. That's a little bit disappointing, but I don't know, somehow it was just a phenomenal day anyways. So yeah, I think we're probably going to call it quits and head back to camp. You know, cook up some food, and tomorrow we'll reevaluate what we might want to do. What do you think the odds on us catching something now, Buck? Pretty low?
I think low. We'd have had it by now.
Yeah. Alright, for dinner tonight, we're going broccoli and carrots. Look at that. Not to mention these puppies right here.
I like raw steak, seriously. I like
Do you?
rare.
No, it's not raw at all. It's actually overdone. Mmm. Yeah, I like it every way. Just I particularly like medium rare. Good morning. It is the morning of our 5th day. 4th or 5th day, I can't remember. We got some interesting news this morning. First of all, the challenge that we were facing was the hard-packed, icy and snowy conditions on the ride here that forced us to go really slow because they're extremely, extremely bumpy. And without snow kicking up into your track of the snowmobile to lubricate the sliders get worn down. And they're the little black plastic things that lie between the frame of your track and the bottom of the track itself. Well, when there's no snow getting kicked up into your track because everything's ice, those wear down, and our sliders have taken a beating. They're really worn down. We decided that the best thing to do at this point would be to get a pickup, and that means somebody could drive on the winter road from Moosonee to Attawapiscatt and pick us up. However, the news we got this morning is that the winter road is gone to poop. is not the term that we received in the inReach, but you can use your imagination. So that basically means we're gonna have to come up with another idea. The other option we have is to ride a significantly larger amount of distance on the power lines, but a lot of the trail might not be broken, so you're looking at very deep snow, which means you're going to be burning a lot more gas. And also the power line crosses rivers, and where that power line crosses the river, there's a deep bank to the river and then a steep bank going up that you cannot drive up, and often there are times there's trees on it. So yeah, we got some thinking to do, a little bit of nervousness inside me about the whole thing, but you know what, it's an adventure and you deal with these problems when you get them. So anyways, yeah, I think we're just gonna basically have to pack up here today and go. You know, we couldn't get to the Cape, we couldn't get to the old Hudson Bay trading post, we didn't catch any fish, and we haven't gotten any partridge. But you know what, anybody that knows how these things go on these trips knows that, like, that's just a reality. And regardless of all that, it's just been a freaking amazing trip. We will see what the future holds. A little pang of fear is in me, you know, and like feels like, yeah, okay, got an adventure in front of us here still.
So we had to pack up in a hurry when we realized we didn't have an exit point at Attawapiscatt. But there is Fort Albany, which is a ride in on the Albany River from the bay, where Winter Road goes to, you know, the same road from Moosonee. So we might be able to make it and get a pickup from Fort Albany if our sliders are still good. I can't imagine conditions on the bay would be any better, but anyways, yeah, so we got packed up in a hurry and we're just about to peel out of this camp. Really awesome experience getting to stay here. Just wanted to say thank you to Gilbert, who let us stay here. This is the traditional territory of the swampy Cree that you see in Attawapiscatt and Moosonee, and just really special place. So thanks everybody, and we're out of here. Well, Buck and I rode all day. It's about 7 o'clock, and we're just on a big island in between Saskatchewan and Fort Albany, and we're pretty exhausted. Today there was actually a bit of a thaw, which helped soften up that snow and helped us travel. We stayed in the willows, and we rode on the power line and stuff for a long ways and stayed off the bay. So tomorrow we're gonna basically try to do the same thing, but we have a big long day, and we don't think we could ride on the bay, which means we might have to follow the power line. And if we do that, there might be no broken trail. So very, very deep snow. You burn a lot of fuel and it's tough riding, but we won't know until we get there. We definitely won't make it if we have to go out on the bay. So, you know, that's kind of our only chance. We're trying to catch the train in Moosonee on Friday. Today is Wednesday, and then the train doesn't run on the weekend. So ideally, we make it out of here. But yeah, I think no matter what we do, it's not going to be easy. Anyways, we're going to make camp here and get some food going and get a good night's sleep. And then tomorrow do the same thing again and see what adventure the day may hold. Well, here we are in the tent after a pretty quick setup tonight, and I'm just cooking dinner here, and we're doing my vegetables. So this is butternut squash, and then we're also doing rehydrated meals like this. So I'm looking forward to that. What time should we get up tomorrow? Like 5 a.m.? Well, it is the morning of what might be our last day. It just dumped snow last night, howling wind. I couldn't sleep and the tent was like shaking, but the winds died off and it's still snowing. So that might make our travel, if we travel on the power line to get back to Moosonee, we have about 150 kilometers to go to Moosonee. So if we travel on the power line, that might make it even more challenging, burning a lot of gas because you got to use a lot of throttle to break trail. We might be able to travel on the bay now because of this dumping of snow, and that might make it not so hard packed and not so tough on the machines and all that kind of stuff. However, it's so windy, all that snow might have blown off the bay. Overall, it might make our situation better. So I'm not going to film doing my oatmeal this morning. I know, unsubscribe, right everyone? Think we're going to make it today, Buck?
I think so, yeah. Lots of snow. That's what we need.
Found a little cove along the tree edge here, and we need to refuel. I was almost out.
Do what you can do, Jim.
Thanks, buddy. Taking a little Pemmican snack break and some tea, and yeah, blizzarding. Well, and there it is, folks, Moosonee. We just pulled up onto the Moose River and we see town in front of us. So I think it's safe to say we did it. A few challenges along the way. Travel conditions on the bay being the big one, and the time it was taking us. Equipment getting worn down, and weather today with the blizzard. But every time we had a challenge, we came up with a solution and it always worked out great. So pretty special trip. Now we're just gonna ride into town back to see Kyle and get ready to load up on the train tomorrow. So I guess barring any catastrophes, we managed to catch our train. Good times. Well, here we are back in Moosonee, Ontario, just at James Bay Adventures Garage. And we finished the trip despite a couple unknowns. The snow allowed us to travel faster despite the blizzard conditions, and we had a long ride to get back here today. And one of the things about this trip that was interesting to me is we didn't actually make it to where we wanted to go. And now, you know, we could have pushed on. We wouldn't probably have had enough food, and it would have taken much longer. But we're smart enough to know, you know, sometimes Mother Nature slams the door on you, and with those conditions, how slow we'd have to go and the damage that it would cause to our machines would likely, almost definitely, have left us stranded out there. So fortunately, we were smart enough to say, you know what, let's you know, put our goal aside and change up the plan. Despite these things not really working out the way that we thought they would, it was just an unbelievable trip, and I think that's just something that you got to keep in mind when you're going to go traveling out on the land like this, is you have to be flexible, you have to be able to change your plans. Beginning the trip in Moosonee, really shows me that the north is more accessible than a lot of people might think. Within a 5-hour drive, I can jump on the train and be in Moosonee and literally be in polar bear country, be in an area where people still have a connection to the land. Things like that spring goose camp still exist. There's small indigenous communities where people speak their traditional languages. And of course, there's just the beauty of nature out here, you know, from the spruce forest to the pack ice that we saw to all the other little things in between. I think you're gonna see me back here in this area next winter. Anyways, amazing trip. It was really good to hang out with Buck. He jumped in and did a lot of the heavy lifting with my shoulder being blown out, which hopefully is going to be better. Still sore, but much better than it was a couple weeks ago. So hopefully it means I can head off and do the big trips I have coming up in the future. But yeah, amazing journey and definitely an experience I'm going to take with me for the rest of my life.